Now I want you to notice something here in Acts chapter 5 and verse 15. So they brought the sick out into the streets and laid them on beds and couches. They brought the sick. I want to point out to you that sick folks have to be brought. They don't just generally come on their own. And let me say to you who the sick happen to be. It's interesting to note that in the Greek, this word sick here actually is the word without strength. It is the word powerless, or those who are weak in a spiritual sense. They brought the powerless, those who lacked strength. And you know, you can get exhausted by all of the stuff that's in the world. And you can be in a situation where it has made you sick because you're exhausted, you're just tired. You can push and try to make things happen so much that you become exhausted and you're there without strength. And somebody then has to bring you, because discouragement is nothing but exhaustion of the soul. And when you become discouraged, it means that I've lost my wind and I need a second wind, but I need somebody to bring me because the wind has been knocked out of me. And I need somebody to bring me. And these are the folks that they brought into the street, were those that had no strength, those who were weak. And they brought them and they laid them in the street just so that, perhaps, maybe, kind of, sort of, in a way, that by some hook or crook, maybe Peter's shadow, because God was the light, and Peter was the object standing in the light, and they were just hoping that maybe his shadow would fall and touch them, and that they would perhaps be healed just by his shadow. There is a power of the shadow, because I want to tell you that the shadow is your influence. When you stand in the light, as you walk in the light, there is an influence that God will bring to your life. And every person that sees you standing in the light, your shadow, if it touches them, it will affect their life, and they can be touched by the influence of what God has done to you by the light. When the word has been a light unto your feet and a lamp unto your pathway, and if I'm standing in the light, I don't even have to say anything. My God, if I'm walking in the light, my shadow is doing my preaching. With Elbert Hubbard that said, preach the gospel and use words if necessary. But the reason that you don't have to use a whole lot of words is because your shadow will do your talking. And let me tell you, what you are speaks so loud I can't hear words you say anyway. So you may as well let your shadow do the talking. Because what your shadow will actually, the way that it speaks is by its motion. Shadows don't have a voice. A shadow is an echo. And so you do the speaking, but your shadow does the moving. And your shadow speaks by its action. So when your hands are raised in praise, when all hell is broken through in your life, your shadow is preaching to say, baby, not everything is going to be hunky-dory. And there are going to be some days that you feel like giving up. But you got to lift your hands in the sanctuary and bless the Lord anyhow. You got to begin to thank him even when things are not going well. You got to let your shadow do your preaching for you. I'm telling you, there's a power in the shadow. It is the reflection of your image, because you are standing in the light. And as you are in the light, the object is going to cast a shadow by the light. And it's really the light that actually forms the shadow. Take away the light and there is no shadow. It is the object standing in the light that then casts the shadow. And these people had laid these powerless people, these weak people, in his pathway so that just his shadow would touch them.